Entering the Pat Mayo Experience.
Pat Mayo Experience. Pat Mayo Experience. Pat Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to another edition of the Dog or Pass podcast. This for UFC 245, Usman versus Covington. We got 3 title fights on the card. We also have Cody Saftic here in studio. Coming off of, I don't know if we were all that confident going into the last card. We were just like, we just like all the favorites, and then
that worked.
And
out.
then we isolated Sales as being the person to be Saftic. Which I got
Saftic.
Got on.
Yeah. Twister. Like, that's the most Saftic thing to happen in a long time.
Hard Safticking. Deep Safticking. But either way, yeah, crushed the card. I didn't hedge out of a parlay because I was just in YOLO mode. I felt pretty fortunate getting to.
You missed a hedge by 4 seconds.
I felt really, really fortunate just to get through Song Yadong with that parlay still intact. And then there was Marina Rodriguez getting 10-8 in round 3 against Cynthia Calvillo, who cheated by missing weight and then had tons of energy in round 3. But you know, that's the game. So by the time I got to that point in the parlay, I'm just like, you know what? This is seemingly just going to work out. And yeah, apparently 2 of the judges had it 4-0 for Overeem. So I was literally 4 seconds away from an extra like $1,500 or so.
Yeah, dems to breaks.
C'est la vie. Whatever. I gamble more for fun. This is not my profession. My profession, believe it or not, is production.
Oh, wow. I would not have been able to tell.
Shocking, right? All right. A little
bit by the fact that you forgot to put the audio on a couple weeks ago.
I mean, it's a tough gig doing all of this stuff. All right. But a little bit of housekeeping here. So, number 1, Lockport, Gambino, Ford won the freaking draw again.
How do you let this happen?
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. So, like Lockport, everyone
can't tell him to not enter. I mean, if he's giving a like of the show and giving his DK handle plus his question of the week, which is all the requirements of this fucking contest.
3-1, 2-1, something like that. Like, I don't even have to write it down. Everyone knows who Lockport Gambino Ford is at this point.
We've given him $60 DK.
Here's this week's DK giveaway. You gotta 1, give the episode a like. 2, in the comments section, leave your DK handle. And a greasy theory of Pat Mayo, or what connects Pat Mayo and Lockport Gambino Ford. Because, like, he's going on an absolute ridiculous run where it almost seems too good to be true. Like, Pat, like this guy, like, maybe this guy helped Pat bury a body or something one day. I don't know. The floor is yours. Greasy theory
is Pat Mayo.
Maybe Pat. Oh my God. So yeah, in the comment section, congratulations to Lockport Gambino Ford. That's if people even want to join it this week, because like Lockport Gambino Ford just collects all the money anyway.
Well, now at least they know it's fucking random. I mean, the fact that this guy's won 3 times is pretty crazy.
That's because I asked Pat when he won the second time. I'm like, dude, he won like literally 2 cards ago. Like, this is ridiculous. And then
Pat didn't pay attention.
And then I don't think I actually sent him the email. Well, he sent it to me this week, like UFC winner. I saw the name again. I actually wrote him like, are you fucking trolling me? But I don't think I hit send because it was at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Pat's got a baby.
You thought it was a bad dream.
Yeah, I was just like, this didn't actually happen. Did it? Apparently, it did. All right, and then on top of that, Mayo's up for like 2 different awards.
Was it only 2? I thought it was like 6.
There's 2 of them. One of them is sports gambling. There's only 4. There's one that's like fantasy analyst, and there's like Lisa Ann and like
Lisa Ann. I'm sorry, Pat Mayo.
Yeah.
My vote's got to go to Lisa Ann. I'd give it to Pat, but I'd give it to Lisa Ann too. You hear what I'm saying?
So yeah, the link will be in the description below. If you guys like the product that we do, like, listen. This stuff is all popularity contest, blah, 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 blah. A lot of it's a lot of nonsense. But when you go to the bargaining table and you have awards from that previous year, it helps out me, it helps out Pat, it helps out Cody, it helps everybody out if we can, have an extra bargaining chip there. So link is in the description. Vote as much as you possibly can. I don't know the rules of it.
Yeah.
You may be able to just kind of click ad nauseum, but I don't know.
Yeah, and in all seriousness, like me and Pat and I used to live together. We were roommates for a few years, and that guy's the hardest working guy I've ever met. Like, he's up before anybody. He goes to bed after everybody. He is actually deserving. He does provide us this platform. His show, in fact, does really well. So he is actually pretty deserving of a vote. So if you got time, it would help out. If you're only watching our show for the MMA side of things, you don't know who Pat Mayo is, as a favor to us, it would be nice. Give him a vote.
We literally never ask anybody for
That's
anything.
True. That is true.
If you want to help us out, link is in the description. Vote Mayo. Vote him early. Vote him often.
Can you vote more than once? Polls like that suck. It's fixed. But let's fix it in his favor, hopefully. If that's what the case is. I hate polls like that.
I don't know the infrastructure of the website, but like...
Don't shoot the messenger!
If you just happen to click a whole bunch of times and like... Who knows? Maybe it's one a day. Maybe it's a million a day. I don't know. All I know is you should vote for Mayo to help us out. Let's get into the action. Why don't we? There's what a feast. What a feast this card is. Like, unbelievable top to bottom. But we got a main event that, this is the fight. This is the fight everyone has been waiting for, wanting, and finally we're going to get it. Weigh-ins and all that other stuff pending. We got Kamaru Usman taking on Colby Covington for the welterweight championship of the world. Usman minus 180 favorite. Covington plus 160. Cody, I'm going to throw it to you, and then I will interrupt you very rudely if you're talking a whole bunch of nonsense, but I'll let you take it away to start.
Yeah, it could be. This one puts little Cody in the old rock and a hard place because I'm probably one of the few people on the planet that considers myself a Usman fan and a Covington fan. Like, I like both these guys. And as far as my bank account has gone, both these guys have been phenomenal. I mean, they both have the same 15-1 record. Usman hasn't lost in the UFC, whereas Covington has that one loss to Warley Alves, which cost me a little bit, but all the same, it's like they've done a great... In Covington's case, on the DK side of things, like, he's doubled down for me as well. Like, he's just been an absolute monster. I don't care about the personality. I don't care about the antics. Truthfully, I grew up as a wrestling fan till I was like 10 years old. I get it. And then I go to college, right? And I go to college and I think like, oh man, I want to be like a sportscaster and I want to be on a desk and talking about sports news and do a podcast and do a show. And like, that's the envisionment. But like, as you start to get into it, you realize nobody gives a fuck about you. Nobody does, right? It's how are you going to separate yourself from the other people? Like, what makes this show different than any other show? I don't know, but we just do our own thing. That seems to jive. That seems to click. We've been doing it for 5+ years now. It's like, yeah, it just eventually works. Is it different than other people's shows? I'd like to think yes. But I'm not an expert because I'm not exactly watching everybody else's shows as well. I just do my thing, and if people like it, they like it. Pat Mayo made himself a character. He's a personality. He goes out there. He has fun segments. Like, that's kind of what you got to do. Covington's case, nobody cares about him. And let's be honest here. This dude comes to the UFC, cookie cutter. I mean, he's a white boy with a crew cut. He's from Oregon. He's a wrestler. Who the fuck wants anything to do with this guy? Nobody. Mm-hmm. I'm not just talking about that recent interview where he talks.
Went to decision.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about that Candace Owens interview or whatever where he comes out and he's basically like, oh, I was going to get cut. That's a story he's actually told a number of times. Yeah. Go back to old interviews. He's like, nobody cared about me. And here's the problem with the UFC. And you even look at like big UFC stars. You see the amount of money that they make throughout these fights. It's like, nobody cares, I made 30,000. Nobody cares, I made 40,000. Nobody cares, I made 50,000. But eventually you break through. When you break through, you make a ton of money. Colby Covington may have been able to break through just on the merit of his skills. Maybe he would have. But he wouldn't have gotten those big spots. He wouldn't have been able to headline these pay-per-view cards. Ultimately, he would just be another wrestler from the Midwest who comes in here and wins fights. Like, there's nothing appealing about him. So he takes this persona. And well, what persona is he supposed to have, right? Well, what's there left for him? Make America great again, baby. Make America great again. And it's just a polarizing view. Like, let's say those are his actual political views, and that's okay if it is. It's like people just, it's a lightning rod, right? Mm-hmm. Bugs just go right to the zapper. People want to speculate. And all that leads to money to be made, Paul, because people don't like him. So they do not bet him. Even if they see value in the line, they don't want to sit there and cheer for Colby Covington during the fight. They want to see him get thrashed. They'll bet accordingly. And you're getting plus 160 on Colby Covington in what is pretty much a relatively close fight when you think about it stylistically. I would have to take Colby Covington. So that is my play. Love to hear you. Love to debate this. Let's talk about styles. Let's talk about how he's going to get it done. But I gotta play that value here.
I'm glad that, like, my mentality coming into it, and that's why I asked you, I was like, maybe I'm taking crazy pills. Maybe I'm an idiot. I think it's like a pick'em. And they're giving me plus 160.
It's a good value for a pick'em, buddy.
It's like Usman has a lot more power in the hands and whatnot.
Does he? Does he?
I don't think anybody has the cardio that came or that Cardio Colby is what we're gonna call him. He took your nickname, Kane. Nobody can keep a pace that Covington can. I mean, the wrestling kind of gets negated, I think. I don't think either one of these guys. The one worry I do have if I do bet Covington is Kamaru Usman is bigger than him. He's very, very strong, very domineering figure. Maybe we see a whole shitload of cage work holding him up against the cage.
How do you hold Colby against a cage for 25 minutes?
That's what I'm saying. Like that's where I think he could
backing him up is tough.
Just create an absolute snooze fest and just be able to use that strength. But that cage work is going to be exhausting against somebody of this level too. No, yeah, plus 160. I remember when Usman won his last fight, when Colby won.
That was the greatest.
When Colby won against Lawler last time out, they released on one of the books. It was like minus 300 plus 250, and I like quote tweeted it just like that is way too wide. Now that line like basically didn't exist. Maybe somebody hit it when it first opened for like small limits or whatever, but. When I saw that, I was just like, and like there were people out there just like, there's value on Usman. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and maybe Usman is gonna absolutely starch him, but plus 160, this is a pick'em as far as I'm concerned. And, and you're giving me plus 160 value, I'm in.
Yeah, so Usman's last fight against Tyron Woodley, I crushed the Usman line. Sat on the show, told you why I thought dog pick Usman was going to defeat the challenger. A lot of people had love for Woodley coming in. How's Usman going to take him down? How's Usman going to deal with the power? Woodley has no fucking pace whatsoever. He allows things to happen. Yep. He dictates almost no action.
Backs up to the cage.
Yeah, and he's had a lot of favorable matchups in his favor. Usman is a stylistical nightmare for this guy. He's going to eat him up. He did eat him up. He won all 5 rounds very comfortably. Now he comes in this fight with Colby, like that whole pacing issue, that's off the table. So let's say the wrestling's even. And if you want to get super technical about it, on paper, Colby Covington is a better wrestler than Kamaru Usman.
He's D1 versus D2, but who knows if that actually stacks up in like real MMA.
You put them both in the Olympic Training Center after they came out of college, and I'd love to see that. But anyways, doesn't matter. Regardless of that, let's just say that the wrestling's negated. So now you have the striking. Usman is a good striker. He's a very competent striker, good striker. Colby Covington, he's not nearly as polished as Kamaru Usman. Sorry.
He's just active, so busy.
But
like,
he's super active.
Him, like Robbie looked completely befuddled. I know having the wrestling as an aspect, like that's going to make him drop his hands, of course. But
it's all of it. I mean, on paper, Rafael dos Anjos is a far better striker than him. On paper, Robbie Lawler is a far better striker than him. It doesn't matter once he starts putting the pressure on you. And I think here's the key difference is that because it's 25 minutes, you've got Colby Covington. Generally, he's the one going forward. Now that's going to play against Usman because I don't know how he's going to react to that, trying to be a counter puncher. But I think Colby Covington will have more volume over the course of 25 and just try to grind him down. And you talk about like, oh, you know what? Usman's got power. Maybe Usman catches him. Where I'm saying is that's not a possibility. You look at his track record. Both the fights on The Ultimate Fighter, he won by decision. The rest of his wins in the UFC, he choked out Hayder Hassan. Leon Edwards, decision. Yakovlev, decision. Worley Alves, decision. Sean Strickland, decision. He caught Sergio Moraes. Emil Week.
the Moraes fight is the fight that I'm looking at and going, well, he had power in that one moment.
His 4 fights after that, Meek, Mayo, dos Anjos, and Woodley, again, all decisions. Yeah. So to think he's going to catch Colby, I don't see it. Is he going to hit Colby and Colby's going to cut and Colby's going to bleed? Yeah, probably. Damian Maia cut Colby Covington up. Damian Maia won the first round against Colby Covington. But I think it comes down to the pacing. And if you listen to anything that Covington says, like he divulges a little bit of his game plan, which I wish he wouldn't, but it's very much... He's telling you how to do the tape study. He's saying, watch Kamaru Usman, right? He strikes, whatever he's doing, he acts in a burst, and then he takes that rest period. That rest period is what enables him to set up his next thing.
Colby don't rest.
But there's no breathing period against Colby Covington. So I'm not looking to talk politics. I'm not talking to look race. I'm just looking at the fight. And the fight is close,
we're looking at the fight and the number, and that's
both.
All it is.
I like both of these guys' styles. Both these guys have made me money. Both these guys are now clashing, and I see there's more merit here in Colby Covington. So people can hate him. And they can bet this price up. Fuck, I do not care.
Yeah, I wonder where it's going to move to. I wonder if we're going to get. I think it's going to stay around this, to be perfect.
No, yeah, because ultimately, if people start losing parlays and as the card goes on, they'll be like, shit, this is a good price. Fuck it, I'm in, you know? But as it sits week out, as it sat 2-3 weeks out when the line came out, everybody hates this guy. He's just a polarizing character. And that will play in our benefit here.
I couldn't agree more. All right, let's move on to the co-main event. Arguably an even better matchup. We've got Max Holloway taking on Alexander Volkanovski. Holloway is a -170 favor. Volkanovski +150. Take it away.
Yeah, so if you sat down with a piece of paper and you were like, I want to put together the 3 best fights that could possibly be put together in MMA currently, right now, at this moment. Khabib versus Ferguson is the best fight you could possibly put together. The next 2 are on this motherfucking card.
Yeah, man.
Colby versus Usman is sick. It's the best 2 welterweights in the world. I absolutely can't wait for it. And then you have legitimately the greatest featherweight that's ever walked this planet taking on a guy that just looks like it's his time. He's ready to dethrone Max. I mean, again, yeah, close fight, but I'm going second dog pick on Alex Volkanovski. I could recognize last week that I like the favorites. The favorites are a reason. The price makes sense. I get it. But Alex Volkanovski, I mean, he's got some X factors that could play against Max. Max is the better striker. He stays at distance. He's going to pace him up. He's got more output. As far as his takedown defense, Buddy has had almost no takedown defense problem. Yeah, Dustin Poirier takes him down. Dustin Poirier is huge. It's how you gonna beat Max. That's tough. But I feel like Alexander Volkanovski could do a lot of the same things that Dustin Poirier did. In that maybe it is hard to take down Max, but this guy's extremely strong. Yeah, we talk about he's fighting at 145 pounds, but he used to play professional rugby at like 225. Like he's extremely strong. So I'm not gonna rule out completely that he might be able to get some takedowns against Max. If he gets Max down, he could have some success in holding him down. But that aside, as far as the striking exchanges goes, Max more polished, but you got to push a pace on him. And that's one thing that we talked about in the Covington fight. Covington might not be the superior striker to Kamaru Usman, but he could have the superior pace. Volkanovski seems to have incredible pace. Now everyone's talking about, hey, Max has got the best pace. So as we go to rounds 4 and rounds 5, if it's competitive through the first 3, what's Volkanovski going to do? But this is something that you and I have talked right from the get-go. You've always said this. The guy's had absolutely no problem cruising through 15 minutes.
Yeah, if he's still got tons of energy at the end of round 3, I have to assume that in round 4, he's going to come out looking pretty similar.
Colby's first fight at 5, I think
People
it was
always
their
say,
fight. We said the
he's
same
never
thing.
fought 5 rounds before. This is obviously a big moment.
He's built for 5, as far as I'm concerned.
Adrenaline dump, but you watch this guy on the embeddeds and all that stuff, like leading up, and like he looks pretty at ease. He's got, he's training with Adesanya and those guys, like that. Their coach, what's his name again?
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Eugene.
Yeah.
Eugene,
right.
Coach Eugene.
City kickboxing.
That guy's a secret kind of genius in this game as well. Like,
think about how many guys they're producing right now.
That gym is City Kickboxing. Is
Hooker,
absolutely
Adesanya, Volkanovski, to a far lesser extent, Kai France.
I mean, this is pressure versus somebody being able to fight off the back foot. Max is definitely fast enough and has good enough footwork to employ that game plan and win as Volkanovski crashes forward, be able to pick him off in kind of like a Wonder Boy type of style of fight where he's going to hit him a couple times and then move off on angles. Max is fully capable of doing that. But that's not a guarantee. I don't think I'm going to bet this one, at least at this point in the week. I'll watch weigh-ins and maybe get a better idea as the week goes on. I guess if I was going to bet, I would take the plus money on Volkanovski like you did. But this one is just so good, and I definitely see the path to victory for both guys.
Yeah,
so it may be a stay away on DraftKings, which we'll get to at the end. Look in the time description look in the description for time codes to that. You need the winner of this fight.
Yeah.
I am like convinced, and like this is like a cash stack. So you can make an argument that like the first fight or the main event, you can kind of avoid if it stays a striking affair and there's no grappling, that type of thing. And maybe Kamaru Usman keeps his distance. I could see the pass for that one. This one, it's like the winner is going to score beaucoup de points. Like Alexander Volkanovski averages like 110 points per fight. He's $7,500. If he becomes the new champion in the division, he's going to be a must-have on your roster. And on the flip side, Max Holloway has went off for like 190 points against Brian Ortega before. Somebody who wasn't able to hang at his level of striking He's 8,700. So yeah, you're gonna need the winner regardless. Let's move on to the women's bantamweight division. We have Amanda Nunes taking on Jermaine Randamie. The champ is minus 280 favorite. Randamie is plus 240. Cody, what do you think?
I almost feel like I'm not trying to overthink this one because I think I could easily end up overthinking this one. But I feel like this is not Amanda Nunes versus Jermaine Randamie. I feel like this is Matt Brown versus Jermaine Randamie in that he's going to come up with the game plan. And if he comes up with the game plan, I don't see how Amanda Nunes loses this fight. Everybody's talking about the fact that Jermaine Randamie is a killer kickboxer, and she very much is. She's one of the elite strikers of the division. And I think Nunes she could be a better striker. She could be an elite level striker. But the only path everyone's talking about is if this is purely a kickboxing match, could Jermaine Randamie theoretically defeat Amanda Nunes? Yeah, sure. But Amanda Nunes is a BJJ black belt. Amanda Nunes is extremely strong. Amanda Nunes has very good top control. Well, why wouldn't her camp, which is the greatest camp in the world, bar none, why wouldn't her team, the greatest team in the world, bar none, why wouldn't her coaches, the greatest strategists the game has ever seen, tell her stand and bang with this girl for the course of 5 rounds? Like I don't see a world in where that's the plan. The plan is strike with this girl to catch her off guard and take her down. When you take her down, you should have your way. Now, Randamie's made a lot of improvements. We can't disrespect this girl and say that she's the same fighter she once was. She's made a lot of improvements. But she's also no spring chicken. She openly avoided Cyborg because she wanted none of that smoke, whereas Nunes walked through Cyborg like nothing. Her and Holly Holm was a competitive fight that almost everybody thought Holly Holm won, despite the fact that JDR landed 2 really dirty late punches after the bell that completely changed the course of the fight, whereas Amanda Nunes completely saw right through Holly Holm. It's a completely different world here. And then I'm looking at 280 and I'm just like, man, that's not even that bad of a price tag. Now, women's MMA has got a way of getting you and costing you money. And 280 is not a price tag you pretty much seek on anybody. And I'm the biggest Amanda Nunes hater. I think I've picked against her in the majority of her fights because I'm always talking about how she's going to gas. I've always talking about how take this girl into late rounds and she's going to gas. And maybe this is the case here, but I don't know that Jermaine Randamie lasts that long if Amanda Nunes just takes her down and has her way with her. And if the fight does stay standing, what, do you think she's a fish out of water? She's fucking extremely competent. So this is not as simple as just like kickboxing match. This is an MMA contest, and one girl has every MMA skill in the book. Her wrestling's not great, but she's really strong. She could get you to the ground. Mm-hmm. Whereas like the other girl has one set of skills. That's it. Just one single set. So I how could you back it? I could see a pass. I could see you getting scared on 280 and say, I don't want none. I could see when we get to the DK side, I could say, man, I'm just going to take a clear path from this one, go for some other options if you want to pursue it. But again, I don't know how Amanda Nunes blows this one. And so for that reason, she has to be the pick.
Smart camp too. I think she'll be shooting for that.
I'm having faith in the camp, not as much her. In the camp.
She'll be shooting for a takedown.
I'm a Nunes hater. I'm an ATT lover.
She'll be, Mike Brown. I don't know who her direct trainer is, but either way.
Listen, Colby's in the main event. They've got the staff working. Yeah, they're split up. Mike Brown might not even be her head coach for this fight. It might be Dean Thomas. It might be one of the other guys. Sure. I got faith in the system. They're going to have a good game plan.
They're going to be looking for that takedown. They're going to look for that takedown early, and she gets her to the ground. Like Amanda Nunes will find a submission pretty fast. It's hard to not back Nunes. I don't think we really have to say much more than that, to be perfectly honest. We got Marlon Moraes taking on Jose Aldo at 135 pounds. Aldo looking like the machinist out there. Oh, boy. It is hard to feel confident. He is a plus 180 underdog. Moraes is minus 220. I mean, you see the pictures of Aldo out there. This is a guy who used to gas usually later in his fights at 145 pounds. Now we're stripping another 10 pounds off of a frame that never really looked like...
He struggled to make 45.
He never really looked like he had another 10 pounds to lose, except for when we see these pictures of him looking absolutely awful. I mean, it's hard... I'm sorry. It's hard to back him. This line has been, I think it was like minus 155 last week. Everyone, once these pictures started emerging of Aldo, people have been steaming it. It's hard to back Aldo. It's Moraes or pass as far as I'm considered, just based on the fact that I think this is a horrible idea for Aldo to move down to 135. I don't know if I'm crazy. What's your take here?
No, I mean, if you want to draw comparisons, his good buddy Hedin Barao just got the old cut, and it's like their careers have very much mirrored each other. Aldo was a better fighter. He always was a better fighter, and he is in conversations for one of the great featherweight kings, one of the great pound-for-pound fighters for his era. But again, I was never super impressed with him with the level of competition he was beating. It's just those are the best guys that were available at the time. But when they fell off, it's like they fell off rather quick. Both guys have tried to search for success in a different weight class. Both guys have tried to switch things up, but ultimately just neither guy looks themselves. Now, what you have in Renan Barão's case is literally, Paul, every time this guy fought for his 1-6 stretch run, people were discussing the possibility of maybe he recaptured some of the magic. Because at one time, he was a highly touted fan favorite. And as you fall down into nothingness, you'll still remain that once highly touted fan favorite. You'll still take money. That's what I'm seeing with Jose Aldo, is that the money that was initially on him, people have wised up here now and been like, what's going on? But the money that was initially on here, they're giving this guy a legitimate chance against a top 5 contender in the division, a guy that's smoked out, some of the best guys around that he could possibly fight. Whereas Aldo's looked bad at 45. He's going to somehow drop down to 35 and it's the difference maker. When we think about Aldo, right? In his prime, right? What was he known for? Mad takedown defense, great fucking leg kicks, and just, good power and pace. The pace is gone. The last fight against Alexander Volkanovski sealed that. By the way, what was that fight? 160 Volkanovski? It wasn't even that big of a price tag. People were giving Aldo his respect. Yep. Did not pull the trigger. The leg kicks, those have been gone for years. The takedown defense, you used to have to try to take him down, but now you don't. You could just quite simply outstrike him. He's lost all of the things that made him Jose Aldo, and coming back, or now jumping down to 135 after a career of struggling to make 45, after a career of gassing out later in rounds. And I mean a career. He's always done this. Why do you think Mark fucking Hominick took the 5th round off him?
His face was falling
His
off.
head had a head coming out of it, and he still beat this guy in the 5th round.
Yep.
10-8 4th round.
Well, apparently he
still
had
won
the
the
flu
5th round.
that day. That was the excuse.
Oh, whatever. You know, those Brazilians love excuses. But all the same, I mean, I just, you can't get behind this guy because he's got that past glory that maybe he recaptures the magic a little bit. Now, you could be talked into it when he gets to Renan Barão's level, and Renan Barão was fighting nobody's by the end. Andre Ewell. Maybe you could make an argument that Renan Barão's going to beat Andre Ewell. Turns out he won't. But this is not the Andre Ewell of the division. This is not a lower ranked challenger of the division.
This is a guy who had a title fight against Henry Cejudo. He got gassed himself, but you got to think Marlon Moraes left after that such a disappointing letdown spot against Cejudo, and that guy was back in the gym with Frankie Edgar and all of his boys out in New Jersey, just grinding since then.
Yeah, on top of that.
That was his moment to shine, and he was looking good until he kind of slowed down.
Yeah. On top of that, it's just when you look at guys that have just exceptional cardio, right? Okay, it's all the pacing of the fight, right? Marlon Moraes, when he's having a striking battle with you, sizing you up, you guys are throwing exchanges, his cardio, no problem. It's that Henry Cejudo is a special human being. In the first round of Marlon Moraes versus Henry Cejudo, Marlon Moraes danced on his ass. The problem is that Henry don't go nowhere. And when Henry wasn't going anywhere, he kept coming forward. He pushed the pace. He tired this man. He broke this man. The difference between Jose Aldo and Henry Cejudo is if you style on this guy in the first round, a better version of him will not emerge for the second and third round. A lesser version of him will emerge for the second and third round. Yep. Your confidence is up after that first round. There's nothing that's going to balloon effect, destroy that, and kill your momentum or kill your adrenaline. You're not going to suffer that adrenaline dump because this guy's coming back on. He's taking your best punches. It's I don't know what he has to offer. Now, I always talk about, listen to the interviews. You got to kind of hear what the guy's mindset at. And with Jose Aldo, again, lost fighter, doesn't know what he's trying to do right now. But it's Jose, what's the mindset of making 135? It's I always thought I could make it. It's just he's not looking at a title run. He's not looking to establish himself as the best guy at 135 pounds. In fact, I would like to see Jose Aldo versus Renan Barão and see how competitive that is as a sparring match in the gym. But for him to say, geez, old Barão ain't what he used to be. He's completely broken down and just got caught. I'm going to go in that division and make it happen. It's no, it's a tough division. It's a tougher division than the division you're coming from. Bantamweight is the best division in the sport, my personal opinion. What do you think Peter Yan does to this guy? Fucks him up. No doubt about it. He's lucky he got Marlon Moraes here. He should be fighting Uriah Faber. But anyways.
That you're right. They should actually switch. Because Marlon
Like,
Moraes
isn't
hosts
this
Jose
the
Aldo.
stupidest thing
It
you've
should
ever
be
seen?
Moraes versus Yan and Faber versus Aldo.
Yeah, and
That would be a lot more competitive on both fronts.
And this is the sad reality of the world that little Cody lives in his mind, is that you put that Aldo versus Faber fight and it's sick. And realistically, it's your lead into the pay-per-view to get people to buy. Because guys like my dad would watch it.
Yeah.
And it ain't going to be that good of a fight. Putting Aldo versus Faber, we've seen it. It wasn't that good. Now they're older, whatever. But at least we would get to see Jan versus Marlon Moraes would be a more competitive fight. Anyways, just to cap it off really quick, Marlon's seemingly still in the prime of his career, has got good big money fights left, is going to fight the best guys in the division, he's a better striker than Jose Aldo, more output, a little bit faster, understands the division, understands his cardio. I get the Henry fight. You can't factor that in here. Whereas Aldo has got every question mark in the world surrounding him, and none of them are good. The only positive you could draw is like, dude, maybe he'll just be huge for the weight class. It's like, then he's going to be slower than he usually is. And when he's slower, he's going to get styled on. So anyways, Marlon Moraes, when it opened, loved it. I personally didn't hit it there. I got it at 200. I see it's 220 now. It's only going to keep going up. Yeah. The fight could get canceled when it's time to make weight. Yeah, Aldo looks really bad, and he's at 141 right now. Okay? So he's got to make 136.
6 pounds somewhere.
He's got to lose 5 pounds because they'll give him the allowance.
That guy's not carrying very much water on that frame right now either. I'll tell you that much.
Remember how they used to call him Scarface? His name's Junior, but they used to call him Scarface because he's got the scar on the face, right? You couldn't really tell. You see those pictures now, his face looks mangled. It's like he's sucked out all the fluids from his face. Now you see all the lines, you see all the marks, you see all the cuts, and it's like, holy shit, dude. Like, why would your wife even allow you to do this? Anyways, let's move on to Peter Yan, Uriah Faber.
Yep.
Does that make any sense?
No. But Jan is minus 515 favorite. Faber plus 410. Second time in a row, Faber comes in as the biggest underdog on the card.
Made it happen.
I'm sorry, that was lightning in a bottle that last time out. I faded them, and I paid the price, and I learned to never. I made it all back by fading Simon. It was a close fight, but fading Simon against Rob Font this past weekend. So
Simon on DK was a good play.
So we're back in biz, but I'm sorry, Peter Yan, the pressure, the pace. He's going to chew Uriah Faber right up. It's going to be kind of sad. That's what I think here. What about you?
Yeah, I guess I understand the UFC side of it. It's like, if we're going to bring you back, and they tried to shut it down. They tried to say, hey, stay retired. We gave you the Pickett fight. It was a cool little sign-off. You went into the California sunshine, the sunset. It's over for you. That was cool. When he came back, they were like, yo, let's feed him Ricky Simon. Whereas that played out to his advantage, that like him and Ricky Simon match up extremely well. Ricky Simon is just younger Uriah Faber. And Ricky Simon may potentially have chin issues, and he may potentially have a submission defense issue. Faber has done this before. He did it to Michael McDonald. Catches you with a shot as you're trying to recover from just being caught from that shot you didn't see coming, catches you in the choke. That's his little move. That's his little path to victory. If he is going to beat Peter Yan, that's what it is. But like, who in their right mind bets a fight on the basis of he could land a lucky punch and then land a follow-up lucky submission? Like that's lightning striking in a bottle, right? And it just happened for him. Mm-hmm. So like, what would be the odds that this is going to happen again? I can't see it happening. Peter Yan's one of my favorite guys in the division. I think this guy's absolutely phenomenal. If you look at his regional show career in Russia before getting signed to the UFC, he's got like fight of the year candidates. This guy, he's durable. He's got 5-round championship level cardio. He's got it all. His striking, unbelievable. His ability to scramble when you try to wrestle on him, very good. He's young. He's hungry. He trains at a high level, trains all the time. And it's like, you got to give the guy a little bit of kudos here, right? Colby Covington had to pick up this persona. Colby Covington had to go the extra mile in order to get the fights that he wanted to get, right? Peter Yan's called out everybody and they's mama. Nobody wants to fight this guy, dude. Dude, he tries to fight every single human being at 135 pounds in said division.
The guy doesn't speak English. Like, that's not
somebody's working his account.
He's not running that social media
Somebody's
account,
working his
Cody.
account. Yeah.
The guy doesn't speak. It's probably the same guy that runs Gilbert Burns.
No, I think that's Burns.
Are they managed by the same people?
Are they all Ali?
I'm not sure who.
I think that's Burns. Whereas I say the thing with Peter Yan, maybe.
It may actually be Burns. But no, Peter Yan doesn't speak English.
Okay.
So like all of these call-outs and stuff, that's his manager doing it.
Fair. I'll say Burns does it. We'll say Peter Yan does it. But the conversation must be, Peter, you down to fight any of these guys? Duh. You fight this guy? Duh. And it's just like, okay, then I'll call them out and I'll try to get a fight for you. But because he doesn't speak English and because he doesn't have some boisterous personality, it's very nice of the UFC to say, boys, we're a promotion. That it entails promoting. We need to promote this guy. How do we promote him, Dana? He doesn't speak English.
Let him eat Uriah Faber.
Yeah. You bring in Uriah Faber, who, we tried to give Simon the rub, and Simon's just not really all that good as we thought. This kid is good. This kid's going to get the rub. This fight makes no sense. Literally 0 sense. If Faber wins, he's in motherfucking title contention, which makes no sense to anybody. It does. Why would you give him a title contention level fight?
Like the guy just retired.
When he's just
he literally just retired.
He's just here for a good time. You know, he's not here for a long time, but he's here for a good time, Paul. Yeah. Don't give him contention fights. No. Whereas Peter Yan is just chomping at the motherfucking bit, ready to go, saying, let me at him. Okay, then we'll give you this fight, and then hopefully people will remember you as the guy that beat Uriah Faber, and you move on again. And Faber has always struggled against elite level strikers. They chop up his legs, they keep him on the outside. He's not going to be able to take that distance punishment. He struggled so mightily in his fights with Aldo and Renan Barão and Jimmy Rivera. Remember how shot to bits he looked against Jimmy Rivera? Mm-hmm. And you think he's going to defeat Peter Yan on what basis? Is takedowns? Uriah Faber not that good of a wrestler. Sorry to tell you, he fought in a different time where nobody could wrestle. It'd be tough. Now I've never called nothing.
I haven't seen a soul out there betting Faber for the record, though.
Yeah, which is trap. That's a big trap because I never
call.
This
line keeps moving.
I never call nothing free money because free money doesn't exist. But it's only $5.15. It's been moving. You should have got on a little when it was $4.85. But like, that's it. Yeah. Part of me wonders, Greasy Theory part of me wonders.
No, as long as that line moves, I don't get as panicked. It's when everyone hammers aside and it stays still. That's when you start to panic.
No, everybody knows what's up. The only people that are betting Faber are just dog chasing. And guys that see, hey, he pulled off a huge upset in his last fight, so stylistic or
this guy used to be a WEC champion.
Oh, yeah. And how have those guys done lately? Okay.
This next one is a banger. We got Jeff Neal taking on Platinum Mike Perry, minus 245 Neal, plus 205 Perry. All I can really guarantee in this is violence. Hell of a fight. Really looking forward to it. Who doesn't like Mike Perry? The guy just shows up and he's a fight. We were talking about it last week with like certain guys. You know, you got martial artists and you have fighters. Mike Perry is a goddamn fighter. Problem is he doesn't really move his head all that much in exchanges, and Jeff Neal hits like a shit brick house, and he's got just a clean left right down the pipe. Like Mike Perry's gonna eat a bunch of those. Mike Perry has a chance. We saw, I'm sure Neal has probably improved leaps and bounds since like losing in round 3 against Kevin Holland way back in the day. And Kevin Holland's a 185 pounder. This is
he's a big 85 pounder too.
For like sure. And I think we've seen nothing but improvement from Neal. But like if Neal lays the beating on him very early on and we start to see him slow down, just like why hasn't this guy died already? I could see a path to victory for Perry late to get like a late knockout, something like that. But pick is going to be Neal for the purposes of the show. Maybe you talk me out of it or not. Either way, like Jeff Neal, I just think he's the cleaner, more well-rounded mixed martial artist.
Yeah. I think you pretty much nailed it pretty good there. Jeff Neal is a lot cleaner. He's a lot more effective. He's just got the better striker, the better technique. One guy, you could make they're both fighters. You can make the argument Perry, he's not a martial artist. He's a fighter. And Neal's the martial artist. He's a lot more crisp with his techniques. He actually has a bit of a submission game. And he's worked a lot on his cardio since those early problems a long time ago. Changed that 4-7 main. Like, there's no doubt that this guy's going to be ready. But it's like, this guy's a dog as well. Like, he's willing to sling bombs. And boy, oh boy, Paul Shaughnessy, can this man sling bombs. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing with Mike Perry. Mike Perry, not the smartest guy in the world. I think when he signs to the UFC, he's got this grand belief. Again, not the smartest guy in the world. He's got this grand belief that, like, I could defeat any man on this planet. I do believe that. He comes into the UFC. They do him no favors. Give him Hung Yu Lim right off the hop. Hung Yu Lim is a big favorite in that fight, if you remember correctly. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't give a fuck. He comes in and he yells in his face at the weigh-ins, and he goes out there and he plows this guy over, and now he's pumped up, and everybody loves following him on social media. He says whatever he wants. He becomes some great personality. He gets rolling. Somewhere along the line, those defeats change him a little bit, okay? He loses a fight. He decides, I'm going to leave Winter Springs, Florida, and I'm going to go to Greg Jackson's. Goes to Greg Jackson's, mixed results, doesn't really get what he's looking for, misses his, as Colby Covington would say, oh, wow, these guys are going to be in the same room.
Ratchet face
girlfriend. I totally fucking didn't realize these guys in the same card.
Yeah, that could be
dicey. Oh, my. Oh.
I mean, Colby just needs security wherever he goes these days.
He's going to get boomeranged in the fucking face again. You just know it.
I mean, Mike Perry is not the guy you want to fuck with at the weigh-ins. Like, Mike Perry will hit you. Like, I think he will very much And if things could get dicey, they better have security around.
Yeah, 100% they should.
Because he's back
If you're
with
the
her
UFC,
and like they're engaged or some shit.
They're
now.
engaged.
Yeah.
So the craziest thing is that like everybody is like, yo, man, this girl's no good for his career. She coached him in a fight and literally sat there and yelled, break it, like kill him. It's like this. None of this is advice that you could use. That's when Colby Covington comes out and trashes her. Then him and her, they break up. They broke up a soon time after that tweet, by the way. Like he woke up and was like, holy shit, she does look like a horse. What the fuck have I been doing? Anyways, they break up. He goes to New Mexico. Shit doesn't work out in New Mexico. He misses her. He moves back to Florida. And now he's been doing that Excel training center in just outside of Orlando. He's there. Jacques Reysus is there. And Alex Nicholson's there.
Nicholson, of course.
It has not helped either guy. Alex Nicholson's dad, I think, is the head coach. Anyways. So back to the confidence thing is that this guy goes from like that young, brash, say what you want, 26-year-old who's smashing guys to like somewhere along the line, you know, the Alan Jouban fight, the Max Griffin fight, that's the Santiago Ponzinibbio fight, the Donald Cerrone fight, like somewhere along the line, it starts to break him a little bit. Now this takes us to the Vicente Luque fight, perhaps one of his best fights as of yet. I think that's something that you look back and say, geez, but when that fight ends, Paul, okay, a lot of people thought he won. A lot of people thought he won. He didn't truly believe he won. And his nose was so unbelievably shattered that it would need reconstructive surgery to get like your nose canal, fixed. I don't know how he's going to do with that. Now he's back on the shelf. And then, again, goes back to the interviews. When they talked to him about that fight, I thought I was going to die. I thought, this is it. I thought, holy fuck. Now coming into this fight, interview just came out today, I think. I'm on the chopping block, he says.
He's not on the chopping.
No. But the fact that he's thinking like that
is the type
is
of guy.
a
He can lose
very
a
bad
bunch
sign.
of fights. If he loses this fight, they're going to give him some. They'll give him a. Who would they give him?
If he loses this fight, it doesn't matter.
Lariano Staropoli. That would be
anybody.
like. I guess that would be a technical guy that could beat him like Mac Griffin did.
You give him Mickey Gall. Like
exactly.
It truthfully does not matter.
Give
he
him
can fight
somebody
an
for him to
rod.
smash after this, get that confidence back up.
That's what they should have done right from the get-go.
They're not gonna cut him.
No. But they're paying him decent money, right? He's already fought contenders and beaten them like Alex Oliveira. He beat Paul Felder. He beat Alex Oliveira. This guy's got skill. But in any of his fights, it all came down to he's got a great chin, he's got power, and he's confident in his abilities. He moves forward, he believes in himself. He can make it a dirty fight and catch you. But he's not the most technical guy in the world. You can't believe for any moment he's the most technical guy in the world. So with Neal is more technical. Neal packs the exact same amount of power. Neal has a great chin. The only way Perry wins this fight, if Perry takes it into dead dog waters. And Perry at his best, feeling good, could do that. I'm not so sure Perry is at his best feeling that.
Fair.
Anyways, line's not great. Line's not great, even though I got Jeff Neal. 245 is not a great price tag. So I got Neal. The degenerate in me will have money on Neal. But your best path here is could just
Probably
be
a pass.
It's gonna be fun. It could be fight of the night.
Yeah, just enjoy it.
Everybody wins in this one. Why not? Maybe if this is your thing, steer clear.
We got Ketlin Vieira taking on Arine Aldana, minus 165 Vieira, plus 145 Aldana. Have any interest in either side of this fight here?
You know me, I love to talk, but I got hardly anything to say here. I mean, it's just a style clash. Ketlin Vieira's got the better ground game, and Irene Aldana is a better striker. Irene Aldana,
can she keep the distance? Can she stuff the takedowns? If she can, then she is faster and going to be able to circle on the outside. That's what we see with her every single fight.
Yeah. But even in those fights, sometimes she is getting outstruck. Like, it's not as if it's so clear cut that it's like one's got a huge grappling advantage, one's got a huge striking advantage. It's like one's got a significant grappling advantage and could hang in spots on the feet with Aldana. She pressures her up against the cage, makes this a dirty fight, slows it down, grinds her to the cage, gets her to the ground. Could be a close fight. Now, my brain's telling me it's going to the decision. And close fight in the decision is not 165 Ketlin Vieira bet. But flip side to that, I wouldn't tell you dog or pass. Like I think this is just pass, not feeling it, tried to tape study it, could make a million arguments for either direction, not feeling good. Price is not particularly great in any one point. When we got down to DraftKings, it's like Vieira could get a submission and score big for you, but it's like, It could also be a very slow, trepid pace.
I can see Vieira being a low-owned GPP play on DraftKings when we talk about that.
$8,800
just in the offset.
$8,800 for 165.
She
like,
gets
who does that?
She gets an early
that?
takedown. Nobody's when you look at we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about
the
that
other
at the end,
people all around her range. It's like most people are all going to go to the Usmans or the or the Holloways.
That's why you could get low
She
ownership.
will be low owned.
Yep,
If
you're
she
right.
gets a first round submission, of course she can end up on an optimal lineup. But yeah, it's a fight I'm basically steering clear of. We got Ian Heinisch taking on Omari Akhmedov, minus 150, plus 130. Heinisch obviously being the favorite here. I'm interested to see, is this similar to like the Cummings fight last time out for Akhmedov? Like Akhmedov's really big at 185. I'm interested to see how much bigger he is than Heinisch, because I don't think Heinisch really is all that big for 185 pounds. Size definitely matters.
Yeah. Size matters. Omari Akhmedov could take him down based on size.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could get out of his way striking. This
Heinisch has good wrestling too. He's got great cardio. Heinisch may be able to take over late. I think that's kind of what I think could happen here. But Omari just has an ability to stall fights and make them ugly and keep them real close. Like I can see both sides. I can see the arguments for both sides here. I don't have a very solid take on, we record this on a Wednesday during fight week. Do you? No?
I'll give you a greasy theory. I'll give you a greasy theory because A, haven't given you in a while, and B, it's the card that is worthy of a greasy theory, especially because the contest giveaway this week, a completely unrelated greasy theory, but all the same. People have been saying that Usman's on EPO. I've been saying, hey.
Oh, Colby said that.
Yeah, and people who would love to buy into that shit have been backing that up. I think it's an outrageous claim, although extremely fucking possible, because if you told me every guy in this weight class is on EPO, I
every single UFC fighter
I would
is on
believe you. Right.
EPO, I would be like,
Colby fights like a man who's on EPO.
I believe you, except
they're all on EPO.
For your classic gas.
Yeah, they're all
cans that actually can't get through a round. But
so Colby's pushing that narrative. Cody's pushing Omari Akhmedov is on EPO narrative, because how at 32 do you just change it all up, man? How do you move up a weight class? And yeah, I know how, less of a weight cut and this and that, but it's like, he's a reinvented man. Keep in mind, he got caught in the third round against Sergio Moraes. He's up 2, he's cruising, knocked out, third round, Sergio Moraes, completely gassed out. Zaleski dos Santos, third round, Omar Akhmedov, completely gassed out. After that, it's like he did something changed. If you know
big against Cummins.
If you know what his management company, is all about, we can buy right past that part of the argument. But yeah, geez, like the Kyle Nunk fight and Razak Al Hassan, right? It's like, yeah, he doesn't got great cardio, but he's supposed to lose his fight tenfold. It's like, man, he's able to carry himself. The Vettori fight, he gassed in the third round. He did gas in the third round, but again, not like the way he used to. And then the Tim Boetsch fight and the Zach Cummins fight, they both go the distance. He gasses in neither of said fights. He's dealing with a much larger man in both scenarios. And it's like, it doesn't seem to faze him. So right as soon as the fight got announced, right off the hop, I'm like, yeah, Ian Heinisch for sure, because it's an easy narrative. Ian Heinisch got great cardio. Typically, he wins his fights later as the fight goes. Akhmedov starts well, loses the fight, the later the fight goes. Hey, that just writes itself, right? It's very easy. Here's where it's not so obvious, is that Ian Heinisch is a slow starter. He gives up early rounds. And Akhmedov wins early rounds. So if you're sitting in front of your TV screen and Akhmedov is gassed, right? And it's the third round and Heinisch is down 2, you're going to be fucking sorry you bet that, man. You don't want to be chasing a third round finish when you're down 2. Heinisch is the kind of guy that could give up 2. Akhmedov is the kind of guy that could go up 2. So I would say, if you're a ballsier man than me, take the dog play, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to flat pass. Heinisch has gotten a little bit of a cult following because he's made us some money in the past. People like him. People are backing him. People see the spot. They're not analyzing it overly. I think this could be a dirty trap line. This could be your apple pie shitter right there.
Ooh. Bold take. All right, we got Matt Brown returning. I thought he fully retired, to be perfectly honest. I thought Matt Brown was done. I'm not sure if he, on social media, said that he was retired.
He did say he was done. Okay.
Did he say he was done? I'm just making sure. Because I thought he was completely done, and then all of a sudden this fight kind of came out of nowhere.
Well, it's called old read between the lines, Paul. When somebody says that they have brain damage and the CT scan wasn't good, and I can't remember where I put my keys 5 minutes ago on a day-to-day basis, it's like, okay, it's all over. But I don't know. I guess the brain is a crazy thing, because Mark Hunt did the same shit. Mark Hunt talked about the fact that he couldn't remember and that the doctors were telling him he had this early onset dementia from the punches in the head, and the UFC yanked him from that main card.
Chase Sherman just had an article about that recently too.
About
He said
him
he would
himself?
forget where he'd left his keys around the house and stuff.
If you got a concussion, and let me tell you, I know people that live day-to-day lives with like a
somebody who
concussion.
retired just recently, and it was basically because he was worried about CTE.
Yeah. If you've got a fresh concussion, right, there's no doubt you're forgetting stuff, little things here and there. But eventually, it heals itself, you're good. It's when you have 9, 10 concussions, it's like the brain never fully repairs itself. In Mark Hunt's case, he's got a ton of combat sports experience. I mean, the guy was boxed professionally. He was a high-level K1 kickboxer who fought the absolute creme de la creme in the golden era of kickboxing before even taking MMA seriously, where he got up all the way to title contention level and fought the best guys. There's no doubt that he has that, right? Chase Sherman, I don't know. But the brain is a crazy thing. Some people can take punches, some people can't. Matt Brown can take punches. He's always shown off to be a good chin, but he's taken a lot of punches, and he's taken a lifetime of punches. And even you look at his professional record, 2016? 21-16. It's like the guy's been around a long time. He might not be getting knocked out, but if you look at the way he fights, he's a motherfucking banshee. And if you see the way he trains hard sparring day, he's a motherfucking banshee. And he's one of those guys that I don't know just gets better. I don't know. But he's one of those guys that talked about it. He's one of those guys that gave it time.
And he's got a matchup here with Ben Saunders, who he should be able to knock him out.
Yeah, again, and I said this already, so
Like,
I
this
hate
fight
to
is not
steal
going
my
to
own
decision.
line.
That is the one. That is, I know that, I think that line's over minus 500 now, but like this fight, I would be very surprised if it goes all 3 rounds.
Yeah.
But I mean, we were 4 seconds away from Rosenstrike versus Overeem going 5 rounds. So
anything.
it's
can
MMA.
happen. It's crazy.
It's obviously, it's very much, it's possible. But
Well, especially-
I'd be surprised. It's just Saunders just can't take the damage. And if it's Matt Brown that we even saw a couple years ago, like this guy has hellacious elbows and he's always looking for the finish. Both of these guys have plenty of losses on their record. They've both taken tons of damage. It's a steep price to pay for Matt Brown, minus 335. But the parlay piece, I think, is that fight ends inside the distance. You can add that to parlays. I think that's the safer play than taking a side in this spot.
I would say I got Matt Brown. I got Matt Brown knockout. I think Matt Brown knocks him out within 2. I'm in on Matt Brown. I think 335 is an extremely great price tag. Could be play of the week.
Okay.
Now, when I say all that stuff about the concussion thing, just keep in mind, and then we can move on to the next fight. That was all right before the Sanchez fight, where he blasted him with the elbow. He took no damage. Then he tore his ACL. That's why he's been out for a year, right? So it's a year layoff. You got that many fights and you're his age, your layoff ain't the worst thing. His head's taken very little damage outside of the sparring rounds he's been out there. Yeah, if he's 2/3 of the guy that fought Diego Sanchez, he takes out Ben Saunders in 1 round.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing that Ben Saunders is even still on the roster. This is a very fun fight. Very exciting fight. Very, very intriguing little fight. But it's like Ben Saunders can only win the fight by submission on the ground. Damian Maia took a fucking long-ass time to deal with Matt Brown. Matt Brown knows how to grapple. He's a black belt, very competent. Second and bigger thing is, like, how does Ben Saunders, is he going to just go take him down like nothing and style on him? Like,
you have to get a knockdown jump on him.
He's got.
Like, I don't think he's got the
if he pulls
wrestling to
pulls guard, he's fucked. But he could get, Matt Brown's not a great wrestler. He could take him down, maybe. You know. But it's like there's a big difference between looking at a page and saying, "Oh, Johnny Hendricks took him down 9 times," and saying Ben Saunders is going to take him down.
Yeah,
big difference. Sure. So love ATT. I'm sure they'll give Ben Saunders the best game plan in the world, but he won't be able to execute to the level of Colby and Emmanuel Nunes. So that's one I've got to just stay away from.
Chase Hooper takes on Daniel Teymur, bad Teymur. Hooper minus 120, Teymur plus 100. Any thoughts here?
So crazy. This card is unbelievably good. Everybody loves this card. Everybody's all on board this card. And like the most debated fight that I seem to see is Teymur versus Hooper. First of all, I want to be like, who gives a fucking shit? Yeah, There's no side you can take. That's a great side.
There's sick fucks for taking all of that time out of your week to think about this one when there's a smorgasbord of top end MMA talent all over.
Yeah, your wife's like, "Oh, you're tape studying again, honey." It's not like, "Bitch, come on, it's Matt Brown. I'm late in the card. It's Matt Brown. Give me some time." It's not like, "Oh, it's Marlon Moraes. It's Jose Aldo." It's just like, "I'm watching Austin Hooper." Like, I'd leave yo bitch ass.
It's Chase Hooper.
Yeah. Sorry, Austin Hooper's a tight end.
The tight end for the
he's the most
Falcons.
He's the most famous Hooper. Is he having a bad year? Because this kid's not having much of a bad year.
He was injured.
Hooper could someday be like your boy Bryce Mitchell. Someday. but he's really young and really green. And like, he's a very opportunistic grappler. He's got some good grappling. You can see the motions there. It's just like, why would this kid be fighting in the UFC at this point?
So green.
When he fought on the Contender Series, it was like, holy shit. This kid seems like he just cut out a math class to travel down to Las Vegas to fight. Like, he's young. He is green. He should lose this fight. He gets his ass kicked early, but he perseveres. This kid's a fighter. This kid's got something. But even Dana's like, I can't sign you to the UFC. It would be a bad idea. What I can do is give you one of those Greg Hardy type deals where it's like, I'm going to sign you to something saying we'll give you a little bit of money to fight in these regional show promotions, build you up, bring you to the UFC. From what I've seen, he's still 5 or 6 more fights on the regional show before coming over to the UFC and doing anything significant. Now, Daniel Teymur, they gave him one hell of a good matchup considering Daniel Teymur, his pitfall is everything that Hooper does well. But at the same time, like, this guy knows how to strike. He's a former Swedish Muay Thai champion. He's obviously the far less of the talented of the two brothers, but they're both good strikers. They're both guys that he doesn't pace himself like Daniel or with David, which I'd like to see a little bit more of. But like, he's got nasty low kicks. He's got a big winging hook. And if we've seen anything, he feels like he relies solely on his power, but he's figuring out a little bit. Like, his power is not that great. He's got to go a little bit longer. He's got to go a little bit deeper into these fights. His last fight, shit show, tires out massively. But he showed us I can push through and land my strikes. As far as this fight goes, I see almost no scenario where this is live bet and a half. Hooper will not win the first round against Teymur. He's not physically strong enough to take him down the open field early. He's not physically strong enough to hold him up against the cage early. And he's not a good enough striker to give him anything to think about, right? Daniel Teymur, plus he's really tall and lanky. His leg's right there for the kick-in.
First live bettable fight on the card as well.
I would hope so, because that's a great spot. Hooper he's tall, lanky, his legs exposed. Daniel Teymur likes to kick.
The order stays like this.
Daniel Teymur will go in, he'll kick. He'll beat up the leg, he'll hurt him, will win the first round. Now is when you got to think, do I got the goal to bet this on that? Daniel Teymur's got a bad gas tank, and he's got bad submission defense, overall not a great grappler. Hooper can fucking grapple, man. It's just that he's literally got to find a way to fall on top of you because he's got the other skills are lacking him currently.
Yeah.
I envision a scenario where Hooper wins this fight late. But again, I hate, similar to the Akhmedov versus Heinisch fight, I hate betting a fight that I know one guy's going to go down early. Hooper could very well go down 2. Finish in the third.
Yeah.
Or he could go down 2, rally in the third and not win, right? So that's a pass, but the line tells you it's a pick 'em. That's why when I see these people debating, it's like, bro, there's a good side on both of these arguments. I understand both sides. When you're telling me what you're telling me, I get it.
Lock it in.
But like, this is not the fight to make some money on.
I can't believe people are picking the other side. It's just like, well,
someone's gonna win. They'll be like, I fucking told you so. Yeah. Hooper's nose is to the left. He's bleeding. His leg's mangled, but he got a submission in the third. You told me so. Absolutely. Or Teymur cruises.
Yeah,
like,
I fight 100
know.
times.
I don't
One
know.
guy wins 48. The other guy
that's
wins
not
52.
that's not a disrespect to anybody that has been talking about that fight. Like, don't feel like, oh, Cody's talking. I'm just shooting the shit and being like, this is a fight that sticks out strangely on such a stacked event.
You're not firing shots at anyone in specific, just the entire community.
No, that's what I don't want to be perceived as. I love everybody.
All right, let's just move on. We've got Kai Kara France taking on Brandon Moreno. Kai Kara France minus 165. Brandon Moreno plus 145. Kai Kara France is a little bit overrated, I think.
You're catching on that too, or
This is the spot. This is the spot where I fade. That Pava fight, he
should have lost.
He's lucky.
I had him. Thank God he didn't.
He was down under because you're not getting that decision if we're in Vegas. I'll tell you that much. And then he did what he had to do against Mark De La Rosa, but like that was a pretty low level fight. Brandon Moreno, sure, he's had a bunch of losses. He's pretty wild, but like he's fought some really, really legitimate talents in this division, and I feel like if the fight gets real greasy, he's got that like super guillotine choke. His striking ain't half bad. I don't know where he's training for this camp, but he was doing a lot of time at like Elevation.
Yeah, I thought that's where he was.
With those guys, I liked it when he was there. I don't know if he's still continued there, but plus 145. I know Kai Kara France is from City Kickboxing with all those other guys, and I'm sure he's been spending a lot of time with Volkanovski. Maybe not so much. He's quite a bit smaller in Volkanovski, I guess. But I'm sure they're going to be very much ready for this fight. But plus 145, I'll take a shot on the dog, Brandon Moreno here. I just think Kai Kara France, he's a flyweight that kind of depends on his power. Like his power is like his best thing. And flyweights, power, that's not something that is a sustainable win. So yeah, I think Brandon Moreno is the play. It's dog or pass for me. What about you?
Yeah, I'm feeling the same thing, dog or pass. Not only was I very much aided by the judges in Kai Kara France's last 2 fights ago, that Roland Paiva fight, not only did that save me a lot, but Brandon Moreno's suspect judges giving that draw versus Akhmedov, woo, that saved me too. I didn't really think Moreno had made those steps. I didn't know that he made the progression. He's only 26. He's young. We saw flashes of brilliance. And remember that fight with Pantoja? He's ranked 16. Pantoja's ranked 1 heading into the tournament. Fights him in the opening round. Man, that's talk about some bad luck for a young 23-year-old kid. And he lost that fight. But he gave a great account of himself, especially in the earlier couple rounds. It's like maybe there's something there. You see him come to the UFC, picks up a couple nice little wins here, fades. He's at elevation. I check now. He's back in Tijuana, Mexico, which I don't love. Had spent a little bit of time at the Performance Institute in Vegas, like bounces around a little bit. Like I don't know how much improvements he's making, but he's a legitimate grappler. Like he's actually a pretty decent grappler. If he gets on top of you, he can have his way. That Akhmedov fight is a good example. Akhmedov is probably a better striker, but like Moreno's Mexican, man. You can knock him out. He's got a cast iron chin. Now he's added that grappling element into his game. Like that was what evaded him before. He used to just wing bombs, have his way with you. You could take him down. Now he wings bombs, tries to pursue the takedown on his own. He's always developing. It's not all there yet, but we got something to work with. Whereas Kai Kara France, again, only 26 years old, but I don't see the same skill transition. This is not a guy that's worked on his grappling. This is a guy that just basically strikes. Only I don't know that he does not have the power to defeat Brandon Moreno. And when he doesn't finish opponents early and it's forced to go longer, he starts out slick. It's like when you watch him early, damn, this guy's tight. He's technical, doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes. The longer the fights go, he's pulling up short on his punches. He's getting hit a lot more. His activity falls right off. And that fight with Paiva, it's like you're in your own backyard. There's no cardio issue here. There's no weight cut issue here. You're flyweight, and you comfortably make it. You should have your way with this guy, right? Not only does Paiva outwork his ass, Paiva ended up, it was a cut stoppage his next fight, but the illustration was, it's like, he's not even a top prospect. No. Kai Kara France is a top prospect out of this great gym that's producing world champions and world champion contenders.
Is he a top prospect? He's on the Ultimate Fighter, and he was nothing special
good
in that spot either, right?
He's got the perception of, because he's rolling with these guys.
Yeah, that he is those guys.
He is. As he continue, if he loses this fight,
maybe 3 years from now, maybe he just progressively gets better just being surrounded by those guys. But in this spot right here, I don't think
this is a crossroads for him in my book, because if he goes out and beats Moreno, they're both 26, they're both still considered prospects. He beats Moreno, he is very much a prospect. He loses to Moreno. Do you know what that makes him? Do you know what that makes him, Paul Shaughnessy?
Expendable.
It makes him Jean Vellante. It makes him Jean Vellante. He's friends with Chris Weidman, but he's not Chris Weidman. Nowadays, you can't really make that joke anymore because it's like, shit, maybe he beats Chris Weidman. But there was a time where it's like, people would always be like, man, look who he's training with. It's like, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where he's at. Other thing to take in consideration is that, like, Adesanya's 185 pounds. Like, Hooker's a big 45er. Volkanovski used to play rugby at 200 plus. And is a 45er. Like, is Kai Kara France benefiting from being around those guys? Yes. The work ethic there, the game plan. I get it. It's a good place to be.
I'm sure there's other dudes there that are really talented that we've never heard of. But
yeah. Whereas this could be a flat pass. To me, this is dogger pass. I would have some exposure to Brandon Moreno. That plus 145 seems a decent. It's pick 'em. It's a pick 'em that you're going to be 45 on. I'll take that.
Viviane Araujo takes on Jessica Evil Eye. Minus 170 Araujo. Plus 150 Eye. Hot takes here?
Yeah.
Any hot takes?
I mean, I've been talking a lot about like these narratives, and they're not all going to work out. But like Jessica Eye, for some reason, people just don't like her. She's complained a whole lot. You look at her. She got head kicked by Valentina Shevchenko. It's a world title fight against the greatest girl to do it right now, 125 ever. So the division just got created, but she's the best. And now she's coming in at plus 150 against Viviane Araujo, who's got some skill, but like Eyes, when she's not getting kicked in the face, they're always close fights, Paul. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of close fights. The Chukagian fight. And Chukagian, she got a great style for winning. Split decision. The Kalindra Ferrier fight, split decision. The Rose Clark fight, split decision. Her losses. Betch Gohea, split decision. The Misha Tate fight, they went the distance. Juliana Pena, they went the distance. Mm-hmm. Alexis Davis, split decision. They're all close fights. So I want to tell you, hey, this is likely, the way I've seen it, when I've looked at my tape on it, could be a close fight. Arroyo probably wants to get this fight to the ground. If she's unable to get the fight to the ground, go ahead.
Do you think she's going to try to? She won't be able. I don't think she'll be able to
I
wrestle.
think
I think
the
a
only
considerably better wrestler.
Yeah, but it seems
Arroyo's
to me
more of a stand-up Muay Thai specialist.
Well, you know what? I could be completely off on it. It could be a stand-up battle in where you've got is the boxer.
I think Arroyo's just like is probably going to have a speed advantage and should be able to pick her apart from distance. The question is whether is able. The problem is with Jessica, I just don't think she has great game plan. She comes in and like her game plan, my opinion,
it's the kind of game plan that leads to close fights that you could win, you could lose, right? They are close fights. You're right. Maybe she gives up the kicks. Maybe she gives up the speed advantage. She gives up the length advantage. She gives the outside. But all she wants to do at the end of the day is just have a boxing match in an MMA ring, right? So to not take her down, to not threaten the takedown, you're just playing into her hand. Anyways, where the last fight we said it's a dog or pass, like the dog. All these fights, it's a pass. This is the same thing. Don't get into too many. I see some value in Jessica. I'm just going to blindly bet a dog. She has always been every time you watch her fights, they're close. You bite your nails. You don't love it. She wins, you're all happy you made the pick. She loses, you're all sad you made the pick. But at the end of the day, you just shouldn't have made the pick in the first place. This would be another classic Jessica. I see some merit to her. I'm just not willing to pull the trigger at 150, even though it's a decent enough price tag. And
finally, we got Puna Soriano taking on Oscar Piechota. It's a straight pick 'em. Do you see value on either side here? We don't really know all that much about Soriano.
That's the issue.
He won on the Contender Series. He didn't look great winning on the Contender Series. They were supposed to ship him over to Russia, where he's supposed to take on the Andiev. I had greasy theories about that.
That was a good theory too.
I'm going to save for the next time Andiev shows up. If he ever does show up again, that guy's got a real checkered past. But I just don't know enough about this kid. I wasn't impressed with him on the Contender Series. He seemingly got a contract because he was managed by Ali Abdelaziz. And you have Piechota, who's like he's Cage Warriors champion, correct?
Yeah, well, Pichota's the Cage Warriors champ. He's a high-level BJJ black belt that's competed in some of the greatest grappling tournaments in the world. And despite the fact that he got submitted in his last two fights, I know that looks funny. It's like legit credentials.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, I'm stumped by this one, to be perfectly honest. I guess nobody's lining up after him coming off of 2 losses to bet Piechota. But like Soriano looked pretty green. He looked like a guy who has potential. Has heart and everything like that, but he's pretty young and unrefined right now. So I don't have a hard pick, but I guess I would take Piechota. But yeah, no, I'm not really sold on anything yet. What about you?
You could pass on the first 3 fights and there'd be no problem about that. Yeah. They are close enough. I got Oscar Piechota as well. It's Soriano. This is the thing, is that there are question marks there. How good's this guy? What is this actual skill set like? How's he gonna react when he's put into certain spots? But like, he has Ali Abdelaziz as a manager. He was given a contract when he didn't deserve a contract. He was given the strangest fight in Russia in his first fight against Yandiev. No fucking sense does this make. Mm-hmm. Which eventually gets bailed out on anyways.
Yep.
Are they looking to do him a favor? Are they looking to build this guy up? And it's not as if Pichota's just a nobody. Like, Pichota's former Cage Warriors champion. He's also got 4 UFC fights. He lost his last 2. Yeah, Teymur Shart and Rodolfo Vieira. Like, come on, man. That's not that bad of a tune. His striking, he's very tall for the weight class. He's got a good length to him. His striking's improved. He's not a striker, but it's improved. His wrestling, got a good chin on him. And he's got that grappling. So Soriano might be able to keep this fight standing the first round, bomb on him. I hear the guy's actually got some decent wrestling as well. Maybe he uses his wrestling. I don't think he uses the wrestling, actually, because he's going to go right into the trap of Piechota, who Piechota does not mind playing off his back, especially against a young Neal fight like this. So we got a striking battle. I would give the advantage to Soriano. Problem is, I wouldn't give the advantage to Soriano for 15 minutes. I'd give him the advantage until he starts to tire. Once you start to tire and you start to get hit, then we see what you're made out of. I haven't seen that out of him, so I don't know what he's made out of. But I have seen so many of these guys come to the UFC. It's not for them. You look Joe Gigliotti. You look awesome on the regional scene. But it's like, you come to the UFC and somebody cracks you in the mouth. It's like, oh, fuck. You try to shoot a takedown on somebody who trains every single day. This is their bread and butter. Oh, shit. Didn't come as easy as it used to. Part of me thinks that Soriano could get a gut check and fold up. Now, Piechota's on a 2-fight losing streak. It's hard to back him. He's got the skill. It's even because one guy's losing right now, but has got better skills, and one guy's undefeated and could potentially be better than we're giving him credit for. But you're taking a chance. You're taking a chance. You're taking a chance on either Soriano is actually good, which we don't know yet. He is actually good, and you're betting it, or you're betting that he's not good, and that Piechota, 2-fight losing streak Piechota, is good. By the way, I had a lot of money on Rodolfo Vieira, right? And Piechota fucking looked decent in the early portion. And then, thank fucking God, hit the ground. Rodolfo does what Rodolfo does. But like, it was a moment where I was like, I ain't going to disrespect this guy again. Whereas I bet a lot on Soriano in his Contender Series fight. He didn't look that good. Didn't look that. Huh? The butt cheeks, goddamn right. I was like,
were tight.
Yeah, because I didn't want no shit slipping out into the pie. And trust me, he was on every single parlay. He was the fucking pie.
Yeah.
So anyway, this kid made some improvements. Can't be overlooked. Soriano did not impress me. The pick would be Piechota, but again, you could pass.
All right, let's go through the DraftKings breakdown for this card. We start at the top. We have Peter Yan, who's $9,400. Pretty safe if you can get up there, I would imagine, to pay up for your boy, who averages over 100 points every single time he goes out there. The guy just puts an absolute pace. I'm sure you agree with that statement.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at the guys from the high-end proportion of it, Peter Yan, Faber has still got some durability. It's not as if this guy's is someone who's lost his chin. It's not like he's got submission defense problems. So there is a world that exists where Peter Yan beats on him for 15 minutes, doesn't get you that finish. I don't know. But
it's like 85 or something like that.
Yeah, but he does have tremendous pace. So one could envision a world where even if he scores no takedowns against Faber, there's no ground transitions, he could get enough significant strikes to get you roughly what you need to get. He's going to probably be one of the higher priced guys, but I can see people avoiding him because he's that extra few $100s. Moving down, you got Brown. He feels so much safer to guarantee you some points. Like barring he should have...
Taking on Chinny. I mean, every time Ben Saunders fights, his opponent is a DraftKings play because you know that it's not going to take much to knock this guy out.
Here's a feature DraftKings should add. You know how you can click on them and see their past history? You should see what their opponent has scored against them. Because when you fight Ben Saunders, you get the rub.
It's a get-right spot.
You get the DK rub. It's just like, I'm scoring 100 points. Pepe, Matt Brown.
There's a knockdown somewhere there, plus some other significant strikes.
And it's like, oh, dude, man, his last fight, he knocked out Diego Sanchez. It's like, think about that for a minute. Who knocks out Diego Sanchez?
Yeah.
Hey, Diego Sanchez has had shots miss him that would knock out Ben Saunders. So I think that's a strong one. Man, Nunes, $9,200. She could get a little bit of favoritism being the champion. She did finish Holly Holm, who saw that one coming. She does have that submission game.
5 rounds.
Yeah, I'm not really looking to hammer that. It is 5 rounds. The $9,200 kind of scares me a little bit in that Randamie is in slow pacing affairs. Nunes is smart enough to respect her.
She's actively avoiding. Yeah, she's going to try to slow the pace of this fight down.
Yeah, and like Cyborg hit her and hurt her. Like she understands the elements of striking. She's not going to go out there and just bum rush her. Like she's going to try to take her time, seize the moment, take this into some later rounds.
That's what she did against Shevchenko.
Take your time.
Those were not big scoring fights.
No, and I could honestly see this one going the same way. Okay. If she does what I think she can and should do, get that early takedown, get the submission. But if they all do what I think they can do, then we'd be fucking rich.
Yeah.
So anyways, the Neal interests me. He's $9,100. The problem is no takedowns, no submissions. He has to knock out Perry. Who knocks out Perry?
Yeah.
That one worries me. He's traditionally a high scorer because he gets the finish.
Yep.
Take that off the table against Perry, and he bombs Perry with 80 of the nicest shots. It's scoring you, 40 DK points with no takedowns,
maybe
no
he gets
transitions.
a knockdown somewhere in there.
No, he gets a decision.
You don't think he can knock him down?
Oh,
he can knock him down.
Dude,
he stumbles, and Mike Perry just stumbles back to his feet.
Anybody can knock out anybody.
That's in play.
Of course he can knock him out, but
knock him down.
Yes, he
10
could knock
points
him down.
for the knockdown.
Which would put him, if
Not
he got...
necessarily a knockout. I'm saying that the knockdown, 10 points.
If he had 80 significant strikes, that's 40 points, right?
Yeah.
And he gets the decision win, 25. That puts him at 65 points, and he gets a knockdown at 75 points. But he's $9,100. Yeah. So all I'm saying is that he would have to finish him, which I don't fully see, or just style on this motherfucker.
Which he could.
He could. I don't see it as prevalent of a situation.
I agree with that.
Moving on, Marlon Moraes. That's actually the same thing to me. It's like, he should style him. He could score a lot, but Jose Aldo has a way of surviving, and Jose Aldo has a way of sitting there and allowing nothing to happen. That slows down the tempo of a pace. Frankie had the same problem at UFC 200. You pull your punches on him a little bit. Could he go out there and put on a masterful performance and knock out Jose Aldo? Yeah, I'm not fully seeing it. And he has $9,000, so I'm thinking you just take
need
a
the
flat
first
pass.
round knockout based on what his fight style is. You need that first round knockout probably for him to return value.
Yeah. The other high plays, Kamaru Usman. I'm going with Colby Covington. If you're an Usman guy, he should be able to score a lot. But he's another example. You take takedowns off the table, he's just going to get it on punch output. He's got output, but I trust Colby Covington's 140 strikes a lot more than I would trust Kamaru Usman's 80 strikes. So that's why I'm going that way. Vieira, that's a flat pass to me. Max Holloway, the guy scores big when he scores, right? I see it. I'm not going him. This is either a pass or a dog for me personally. I'm not going him, but there's no discrediting $8,700 Max Holloway fucking 5-round situation.
I don't see a path for the winner of this fight to not end up on the
And
winning
you
lineup.
said it. You said it your best. Stack the shit out of this on a cash game.
Cash game. This is the stack fight for sure. I'm sure other people are going to stack double stack. I think is in play. I don't really. I play mostly GPP, but like
I would double stack the two.
I will have 100% own. Like I will be 100% exposure to this fight. I'll have Max Holloway and Volkanovski. I think there's 13 fights on the card. It's really hard to like find somebody getting an optimal with two guys. But like this is the type of fight that sometimes sneakily, you're like, oh, the loser of the fight still scored like 90 points and ends up on an optimal. Like I think that's also still kind of in play. But you need this is the fight that you need to have some owner, or you need to have some exposure.
Yeah, well said. You gotta put your flag on one of these guys and hope they pull it off. Now moving on to those. Now we're into the mid range. Araujo, not feeling it. Pass on for that. This is just me talking. Car France, not interested. You interested? You don't want Car France. You don't want Araujo, do you?
I'm interested
86,
in
85?
Moreno at 77.
Right. Ian Heinisch, 84. Again, just talked about it. Hooper for $8,300 is a fucking GPP play, but he's got to get the fight late. He's got to get that submission late. Outside of that, he's not going to score significant strikes. He's not going to get some great takedowns. He could style a little bit, get ground transitions, and he could get that submission. But for $8,300, I mean, fuck it. If you're going for it, you got to go for it, right? Soriano, we just discussed, not big on this. He's not going to submit Piechota. That's off the table. Nobody's really shown the ability to knock out Piechota. So even though he's only $8,200, if he's just relying on a striking affair and a decision victory, not enough. Piechota, he theoretically could submit Soriano. He could knock Soriano out as well. But we don't know enough about Soriano. Is he chinny? Does he have submission defense problems? I don't know. So how can I tell you Pichota's going to win inside the distance when I just don't know? He has a decent price. Daniel Teymur, same thing. If you're Team Teymur, we talked about this.
For that knockout.
Yeah, if you're Team Teymur, then yeah, why the fuck could he not knock out Hooper? He absolutely could. He's only $7,900. Akhmedov's going to have to win a decision, and it's going to have to be a greasy decision.
Basically never a good
So he's only $7,800, but he's still not a good play.
No, he just fights such a slow pace. Like he's trying to actively slow down the pace of any fight that he's in. He's never a good DraftKings play.
So
unless he had a massive wrestling advantage over his opponent, which he doesn't in this
So at this point, it's like, okay, Cody, well, where are we going to save some of that? Where are you going to save some of that money? Okay, it's Moreno, $7,700. Again, decent submissions. The guy, he's got takedowns. He could get multiple takedowns. He could get ground transitions. He could score nice. 77, definitely got my eye on him. I don't have my eye on she's next down at $7,600. Volkanovski, 75. If you're going to stack, you're going to have both of them. If you're playing GPP, you got to go one. He's saving you money, allowing you to get the other pieces and could still score huge.
Yeah.
Max Holloway could score huge, but he's expensive, right? So you're going for it. Again, you got to have your eye on that. Aldana, she's not traditionally a high scorer, not enough for me. Aldo, I'm not chasing past success. No. Perry could drown this guy in the late rounds. $7,100, I'm not having a look at Perry. But do have a look at Perry. Yes, there's some merit there. JDR, she's so cheap, there could be some merit, but she's not knocking out Nunes, not submitting her, not taking her down. She would have to win a close, shitty decision. Not enough. Ben Saunders, no. Faber, no. But the ultimate play
is Colby. Oh, God.
Colby Covington, baby! They should just say, make welterweight great again. I don't care about politics, Paul. All I'm saying is Colby Covington is the play. If you want to just put things into a quick view here, right? Just as how he's been scoring. Against Robbie Lawler, 169.5 points. DeSantos, 120. Mayo, 74. Only that was a 3-round fight. The other fights are also 3 rounds. Kim, 96.5. Brian Barberena, 137. Griffin, 124. You know what? How could I... You're going to send this to Pat Mayer or what? You can just get a screenshot off the show, pal. How could I pass up on the value of Colby Covington?
Tilt your head down a little bit.
No. So that is the pick of the show this week. One for old Colby. I think he's going to be on my DK lineup. And yeah, hopefully we can keep the momentum going and get a string of good events here as we cap off the new year. Pogi Rob's pick parlay.
This week we are like last week. We're basically on everything the exact same.
Well, it worked out last week. It doesn't usually work out when we like the same picks. There's always something up. But anyways, to give the quick parlay to end things off, we're going to go with Colby Covington. That's going to be dog number 1. Officially, Alexander Volkanovski, and that'll be dog number 2. Amanda Nunes, we are going to take her. Marlon Moraes, we're going to take him. Favorites. Peter Yan, blind man would pick him. Jeff Neal, 245. Yep. Okay, so I have to make a play here. I'd like to tell you pass, but because I'm forced into it and to make a play, I'll take Aldana. She is a dog. That'd be the third one. I'll marry Akhmedov, 130. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take that too. But yeah, the smart move is pass on those. Ben Saunders, 30-35 in. Chase Hooper will be the pick. Chase Hooper's going to be the
Matt
pick.
Brown. You
Yeah.
Say Ben Saunders.
Yeah, Chase Hooper's going to be a pick there. Brandon Moreno, he's also a dog. Jessica,
Hooper's the pick,
I'll take Vivian Araujo. Yeah, Hooper's going to be the pick. I'll read it right at the end just as I circle them here. And we're going to go with Oscar Piechota. So yeah, Covington, Volkanovski, Amanda Nunes, Marlon Moraes, Peter Yan, Jeff Neal, Irene Aldana. Oh my God. Mario Akhmedov. Again, same situation.
It gets dicey as you
Matt Brown, Chase Hooper, Brandon Moreno, Vivian Arroyo, and Oscar Piechota. Good luck, people. Pint size your parlays down to maybe just 6. Then 4.
There's just a lot of talented...
And then put the 3 you like. And honestly, I do see money to be made on this card, but you don't have to bet every single fight.
There's just a lot of high-level talent on this card. And when you have high-level talent, despite the odds and lines, it's not like last week where it's like, it was low-level talent, and we liked the favorites in those low-talent fights, and it kind of all just broke the right way for us.
It's all how the fight goes. Last week, you look at a card, and you say, I don't like any of these dogs. Someone could say, Jesus Christ, man, you just picked the favorites. You just picked the favorites. Then you look at this card, and it's like, I like 4 or 5 of these dogs. Or at least I acknowledge that they got a chance to cash for some dog money. It's like, what's the flip? Every card's different. Yeah, every card's different, dude. It's just the 2 fighters that happen to be paired off in the ring at that moment. And that's it. I got to get to train. So that's, as far as it goes.
Thank you to Cody Saftic breaking down the fights with me as always. Cody's got a train to catch, so let's get the hell out of there. Or let's get the hell out of here. So, again, vote for Mayo. Link is in the description. What else? Oh, yeah. In the comment section, leave your DK, or like the episode, leave your DK handle, and a greasy theory of who Lockport 3-1, 2-1, or what? Lockport Gambino Ford. Who is here and how is he connected to Pat Mayo? The people need to know. Anyway, but for Cody Saftic, I am Paul Shaughnessy saying goodbye and good luck.
Pat Mayo experience! Experience!